Welcome to a special episode of That's Life. As always, I'm your host, Kyle Fields. Today, we're getting into a topic that, while often overlooked, resonates deeply within our communities. The intersection of mental health and faith. More specifically, within our church communities. This episode is a personal one for me. I am, as many know, paranoid schizophrenic. When I was 18, I had a similar situation happen. Pastor Bryce LeBlanc and New Providence Baptist Church in Greencastle, Indiana, was my real-life story. Now, whether he or any members of this church will ever hear this doesn't matter to me. It has been over a decade. I have made available avenues for him to reach out to me or to talk to me about what he will tell others was a mistake. While I have forgiven him and his church team at the time who hurt me, he still has been reluctant to reach out to me. This happened in 2008. 16 years later, I still see them standing in the parking lot, arms crossed, with a matter-of-fact look on their face, saying that my calls were falling on deaf ears. The laughs they shared among each other as I walked away, contemplating whether I should continue my life or just go ahead and end it. Mental health issues are prevalent in our society, affecting people across all walks of life. However, the church is often a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can be a sanctuary for healing and support, and on the other, it can unfortunately become a place where stigma flourishes, leaving many to suffer in silence. It's essential to recognize that many individuals with mental health challenges may feel unsupported or even ostracized by their faith communities. This leads to a paradox. In seeking peace through their faith, they may instead encounter misunderstanding and judgment. Statistics reveal that about 1 in 5 adults experience mental illness each year. Despite this prevalence, many congregations still struggle to discuss mental health openly. As believers, we are called to love one another and support one another. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 2, it states, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." However, when mental health struggles are met with skepticism or disbelief, we fail to live out this calling. Turning now to the psychological effects of being denied by the church. It's crucial to understand that the emotional and spiritual scars can be deep-seated, particularly for those grappling with mental health challenges. When individuals with mental illnesses reach out for support, they often do so at their most vulnerable. Rejection or denial from a church community can have devastating consequences. For someone dealing with mental health issues, those consequences can have far-reaching impacts beyond simply not attending church. Even if you don't have a mental illness, consider how it would feel if the place you sought peace and refuge denied you or rejected you. This experience can be universally painful. Research shows that social rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain, making it a profoundly distressing experience for anyone. Studies indicate that about 60% of people report feeling a significant emotional toll after experiencing rejection, which can lead to feelings of sadness, anger, and diminished self worth. Consider someone living with post traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. If a person with PTSD turns to their church for solace after a traumatic event, but is met with judgment or dismissal, the resulting rejection can exacerbate their trauma symptoms. They may experience heightened anxiety and flashbacks, potentially triggering a cycle of re traumatization that is both emotionally and spiritually debilitating. What about individuals with depression? Often they grapple with feelings of worthlessness and self doubt. When someone battling depression reaches out, craving understanding and support, encountering rejection from the church can deepen these feelings. They may internalize the church's failure to accept them as a confirmation of their own perceived inadequacy, increasing their depressive symptoms and making recovery even more challenging. Those living with bipolar disorder can experience a tumultuous relationship with their identity, especially during mood episodes. If someone is in a manic state, seeks help, and is met with suspicion or stigma from church members, it could lead them to question their very sense of self. Rejection can create a significant fracture between their faith identity and the lived reality, leading to confusion and despair about who they are in not only the eyes of God, but their community. For individuals with anxiety disorder, trust issues can be pervasive. If someone battling anxiety approaches their church seeking comfort and encounters rejection, they may struggle to trust anyone in authority moving forward. This erosion of trust can hinder their ability to seek help from mental health professionals or supportive friends. And that's leaving them even more isolated in the future and in their suffering. But let's look at someone with obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD. If an individual with OCD reaches out for support but is met with misunderstanding or ridicule, it could exacerbate their compulsive behaviors or intrusive thoughts. The stress of rejection would not only impede their recovery, but could lead to a significant worsening of symptoms, impacting their daily life and relationships. And finally, those grappling with personality disorders may often benefit from a strong social network. When a church community becomes a source of alienation rather than support, it can lead individuals to withdraw further from essential social interactions. This disconnection can deepen their feelings of loneliness and exacerbate the symptoms of their mental health conditions. The rejection or denial of help from a church community can have profound implications for individuals with various mental illnesses. The impact extends beyond the immediate feelings or hurt or abandonment. They can lead to exacerbated symptoms, increased isolation, a deeper crisis of identity and self-worth. The church, which should be a safe haven, can inadvertently become a place of fear and judgment, pushing vulnerable individuals further away from support and healing. As we explore the impact of mental health in church, it's imperative to address a critical aspect. What happens when our church leaders are a source of hurt rather than help? Church leaders hold a position of immense influence and responsibilities. When they provide support, they can nurture communities of healing and understanding. However, if they contribute to feelings of isolation or stigma, the consequences can be significant. Many individuals turn to spiritual leaders in search of guidance during troubling times. That's what they're there for, especially when facing mental health challenges. However, if those leaders express prejudice or offer harmful advice or dismiss mental health struggles as a lack of faith, the repercussions can leave deep emotional scars. Such experiences can undermine the trust and safety that should be found within a church community. The Bible speaks extensively about the church's role as a sanctuary, a place for healing and restoration. Various scriptures embody this mission, highlighting how the church should act as a healing agent rather than a source of harm. James chapter 1, verse 27 states, "Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress and keep oneself from being polluted by the world." This passage emphasizes the need for active compassion and support within the church community, especially for those who find themselves vulnerable. In John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35, Jesus instructs his followers to what? To love one another. "By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." This commandment stresses that the mark of a true church is its ability to embody love and acceptance, particularly to those who are struggling. Church leaders and congregations must practice self-reflection and accountability. Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 17 speaks about how to address wrongs within the church community, providing clear guidance on correction and restoration rather than neglect or rejection. And of course, you can't forget Galatians chapter 6, verse 2, that encourages us to bear one another's burdens, underscoring that part of our Christian walk is to support and uplift those around us. A church community should reflect this, offering a refuge where struggles are met with compassion, not judgment. Statistics show that approximately 70% of individuals dealing with mental health issues report feeling that their faith community would be unsupportive if they sought help, often due to fears of being stigmatized or misunderstood. When church leaders are unapproachable or fail to acknowledge the legitimacy of mental health concerns, they not only perpetuate stigma, but create barriers that prevent individuals from seeking help from someone in distress. The hurt inflicted by a church leader can feel particularly isolating, compounding their existing challenges. The rejection might lead to a loss of faith in both God and the community, leaving individuals feeling abandoned during their most critical moments. This erosion of faith may then escalate mental health issues, leading to a spiral of despair as individuals grapple with feelings of unworthiness and alienation. While church leaders serve as a source of hurt, the entire community suffers. Their influence extends well beyond individual interactions, impacting the culture of the church itself. A toxic environment can foster despair and resentment rather than love and acceptance, which is contrary to the very message of hope that so many seek. In light of these challenges, it's crucial for church communities to reevaluate how they support individuals dealing with mental illness. Open dialogue about mental health is essential, as it fosters understanding and compassion. Leaders and congregants alike should be encouraged to educate themselves on these issues, creating a culture that embraces vulnerability and offers genuine support. Church leaders have the opportunity to become advocates for mental health awareness within their congregations. They can set an example by openly discussing mental health issues and sharing resources for help. This proactive approach can empower congregants to seek the opportunity they need without fear or stigma. Moreover, churches should consider forming support groups where individuals can share their experiences and struggles in a safe and welcoming environment. These small gatherings can make a profound difference, offering community members the chance to find solace and understanding among peers who may be on similar journeys. In addition, creating partnerships with mental health professionals can bridge a gap between spiritual guidance and psychological support. Churches can host workshops, seminars, or even invite mental health experts to speak, ensuring that the message of love and support resonates throughout the congregation. Importantly, we must remember that the church doesn't have to be a large congregation. Okay? According to the Bible, a church can be as simple as 3 people gathered in a circle discussing God and reading His Word. It's in these intimate settings that real connection and healing can begin. So, how can individuals within the church community create a more supportive environment? Whether it's by reaching out to someone in need, advocating for mental health awareness, or simply providing a listening ear. Every act of kindness contributes to a healthier, more loving community. Thank you so much for joining me on this special episode of That's Life. I hope today's conversation has provided you with insight and encouragement as we all navigate our faith journeys. Together, let's shine light into dark places and work towards healing and restoration, one heart at a time. The journey of holding on to, and maintaining faith despite the church failures is undoubtedly challenging. The social and psychological implications are profound, leaving scars that can affect individuals for years, even lifetimes. Yet, it's essential to remember that we, as children of God, have the power to create spaces of healing that can mend these wounds. Through accountability, love, open dialogue, and compassion, we can transform our church communities into bastions of hope and healing. Whether you're someone who's been hurt by a church or a leader striving to create a better environment, know that it's possible to reclaim a sense of self and a sense of faith that has both powerful and restorative meaning. Healing may take time, but with every step forward, we can create a culture that reflects the heart of Jesus Christ. Until next time, do you, but do it with love and affection. I'm Kyle Fields, and that's life.